All right, guys. Well, I think we're all in agreement. We're going to vote Jokic for MVP this year.
In a landslide.
Yeah, of course.
In a landslide.
No, I think I'm going to vote for Luka this year. I think he's going to get my vote this time around. Excuse me? Yeah, I mean, he's having a historic season. The Mavs have won 50-plus games. I think it's his year. Have you seen Jokic's VORP? Yeah, I mean, Luka's second in it, so I think it's close enough. Have you seen his kitchen sink win probability added? I don't know what that is, so I don't really care. Blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
All right,
Blasphemy.
can I talk to you guys just for a second, please? Hold on. One moment, please. Okay, guys, he's not buying into any of the usual stats. We need something new, something with kind of a goofy-sounding name. Any ideas? I've got one. What about Drip? That's good. Drip. That already exists, believe it or not, and Luka's first in it, so we need some newer ideas. What about Glurp? Glurp. Yeah. That's got some potential. Glurp. That has a nice ring to it. What does it mean? G could be games played. Games. L could be length. That's good. U could be usage. But the higher the usage, the worse it is. That's genius. That you have a lot of potential.
He does.
You really do. R could be rebounds, but we make them disproportionately more important. Smart. That's smart. Really P could be plus minus with zero context at all. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. I think we got him, guys. I think we got him right where we want him. You will be voting Jokic for MVP. No, Jokic is having a great season, but I think I'm gonna vote Luka. I think it's his year. The power of Glurp compels you. 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 Luka Doncic is truthfully having a historic season, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it really is one of the greatest offensive seasons the NBA has ever seen. I mean, he leads the league in so many categories. I'm not even going to use the energy to name them. I'm just going to put them in a list here off to the side and have it scroll past my head. You guys can read them. Hopefully it looks good. I have no idea if I can edit this or not. It feels a little outside of my wheelhouse. But I guess we'll find out. Still going? And I truthfully believe he deserves to be the MVP of the NBA this season. Now, when I set out to do this video and I started researching, I thought I was going to do a case for and against Luka. I wanted to be objective. I wanted to lay out a reason why he shouldn't win MVP. That way you guys might trust me a little bit more. But then I realized, wait a second. I'm slightly biased. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. They're throwing the kitchen sink at us. Literally. They're using advanced metrics called kitchen sink win probability added in arguments against Luka Doncic's MVP campaign. What are we doing? Are we talking about basketball? Are we talking about plumbing? Look, if your advanced metric has a home appliance in its name, I don't think we should use it for serious MVP discussions, okay? But I also just can't help but feel like the goalposts continue to move for Luka, and the arguments against him get weaker and weaker, and in some cases are just flat out wrong and incorrect. For example, Luka started the season kind of slow, so we shouldn't reward him for losing early in the season and winning late in the season. You're wrong. You are incorrect. Did the Mavericks struggle a little bit in the months of December and January? Yes, they did. That's why they entered the trade deadline only 3 games above 500. But these 2 months are not weaknesses in Luka Doncic's MVP campaign. It's the exact opposite, actually. The strongest argument for Luka is his just absurd scoring and passing ability, which we'll get to later on. But I want to start this video by addressing this because it's the point that is used against Luka more than anything else I see. And that's the early season record and his early season performance. Well, let's dive into it. In just those 2 months, the Mavericks missed a total of 91 games from 20-minute-per-game players in their rotation. Kyrie Irving only played in 13, missing 18 games total. Derek Lively missed 10 games. Maxi Kleber missed 23. Josh Green missed 13. Dante Exum missed 15. Wait, are you really using Maxi Kleber and Josh Green missing games as arguments for Luka? Yeah, I just want to add some perspective to this. The Mavs missed 91 games from 20-minute-per-game players over that 2-month stretch. Over the course of the entire season, for other MVP candidates, Jason Tatum, the Celtics, 69 games total in the whole season. Giannis, 78. Jokic, 39. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 14. That's over the course of the whole season. The Mavs missed 91 in 2 months. Hey guys, just chiming in here to say I'm not using this as an argument to discredit other MVP candidates. No, it's not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's fault or Nikola Jokic's fault that their team has been healthy. I'm not trying to say that. What I'm trying to do is add some context to why that 2-month stretch for the Mavericks was so impressive because of all of the injuries they faced. And I'm just comparing just those 2 months to other teams' full entire seasons just to show you the depth of their injuries. Okay? All right, back to the video. And I cannot emphasize enough how good Luka Doncic played over this 2-month stretch to keep the Mavericks' head above water just long enough for them to get healthy and make trades at the deadline so they could go on this miraculous second half run that we see them on currently. Over that 2-month stretch, he averaged 37 points, 9 rebounds, and 10.8 assists per game. He's the only player in NBA history to average 35 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists over a 20-game stretch, but 20 games is selling him short. He averaged 35, 9, and 10 from December 2nd all the way through February 25th. 30 games. Averaging a stat line nobody had ever averaged for 20 games. So I want to start with this to immediately discredit this notion that Luka had a slow start to the season and picked it up in the back half, and that's why the Mavericks are winning games. No. The Mavericks were winning games despite their slew of injuries because Luka Doncic was having to do everything on the basketball court for a 2-month stretch where he went absolutely barnacles. I just want to rattle off some of the things Luka did over this stretch, okay? We're going to go through some of the games over these 2 months. December 2nd versus the fully healthy Thunder, the Mavericks rotation, they had Omax Prosper, God bless him, love him, AJ Lawson and Jaden Hardy each getting 14-plus minutes in a game that Seth Curry also started. Mavericks just beat to hell. They went on a 30-0 run in the fourth quarter to come back against the Thunder. They ultimately choked the game away, but we'll just ignore that part. Luka, 36 points, 18 assists, 15 rebounds, including 13 assists in the second half of the game alone. December 6th versus the Utah Jazz, 40 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. He had a 29-point triple-double at halftime, which had never been done in the history of the NBA. It was the second highest scoring triple-double ever in under 32 minutes of play. December 12th against the Los Angeles Lakers, 33 points, 17 assists. December 16th versus the Blazers, 40 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists on 71% true shooting. Derek Lively injured 5 minutes into this game. Markieff Morris and Dwight Powell combined to play 42 minutes. December 23rd versus the Spurs, 39 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists in 31 minutes. Didn't play a single minute in the fourth quarter. The third highest scoring triple-double in NBA history under 32 minutes. December 25th, Christmas night against the Phoenix Suns, 50 points, 15 assists, 81% true shooting, only the second 50-point, 15-assist game in the history of the NBA, the 19th best individual game score of all time, the best Christmas Day game score of all time. No Kyrie Irving on the road against the Phoenix Suns. December 30th versus the Warriors on the road. No Kyrie Irving, 39 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. January 26th versus the Atlanta Hawks. Oh, I don't know. How about 73 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists? The fourth most points ever scored in a game in the history of the NBA. The second best game score ever. This stat dates back to the mid-'80s. There's been thousands and thousands and thousands of games from thousands and thousands and thousands of players. It's the second best game ever, according to this metric. 91% true shooting, the best true shooting percentage ever in a 60-plus point game. There have been 51 60-point games in the history of the league. Luka's the most efficient. And this was a game the Mavericks only won by 6. I want to preference that because I think some people remember this like there was some stat padding involved. No. The Mavericks won this game by 6. Luka played 45 minutes, and the Mavs lost the 3 non-Luka minutes by 8 points. And of course, naturally, where we met with joy and celebration, celebrating one of the greatest games in the history of this great sport, no, the media just cried, bitched, and complained for the next 48 hours after this game happened. January 29th versus the Orlando Magic, 45 points, 9 rebounds, 15 assists, including 26 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, 0 turnovers in the second half of the game. 26, 7, and 10 with 0 turnovers in the second half alone. That's like 95% of the NBA's population's best game of the season. That was in the second half against one of the best defenses in the league. In the month of January, the Mavericks went 0-5 in games when Luka scored under 34 points and 4-1 in games when he scored over. What Luka did in this 2-month stretch that's actually used against him in MVP arguments, it was actually incredible. It should not be a stain on his MVP case. Without this historic 30-game stretch from Luka Doncic, the Mavericks are in no position to do what they are doing currently. They're just not. They're under 500 going into the deadline, and who the hell knows what this team looks like? So this should debunk the idea that Luka started the season slow and picked it up towards the end. It's just not true. Look at his 5-game rolling EPM. It's about as straight of a line as you could possibly get. and you compare that to other MVP candidates, I have no idea where this thought is coming from. This is a legitimate argument that this is a full season award and we shouldn't award somebody who only did good for certain months of the season. You're wrong. You're not correct. And since February 5th, since Kyrie Irving returned from an injury, the Mavericks are 24-7, which is the best record in the Western Conference over that stretch, with a plus 9.6 net rating, the second best in the NBA over that stretch, a 120 offensive rating, which is fourth, and a 110 defensive rating, which is sixth. So no, Luka did not start the season slow. He did not have a rough stretch at any point in time during the season. The Mavericks couldn't afford it. They could not afford Luka playing poorly for 2 months. And guess what? He did it. I don't know where the fuck that comes from. This actually checks one of the boxes people had for Luka. Start the season strong. Come into the season in shape. Contribute from the beginning. And he did a great job of that this season. What are some of the other boxes people wanted him to check? Oh, God. Russello, the Luka thing. I'm just not so sure his teammates like playing with him. The Grant Williams stuff bums me out. Like, Tatum took this guy to the finals. And now I have Celtics people in my life asking me if Tatum's doing a 2008 LeBron thing.
What?
I just don't.
Who the fuck's asking you?
Well, no, people in my text threads.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right.
The Kyrie piece. I know we spent the whole summer shitting on it and saying that it wouldn't work, and now they're the leading scoring duo in the NBA. But I'm just not so sure Kyrie's not going to go on a 2-week ayahuasca trip at some point. I don't know. What do you think, Russello?
I mean, yeah, look, I know that we constantly say that their offense can't work because Luka has the ball so much. And then you look at the numbers, and they're top 10 in offense every year. And it's like, wait, what? But then you look at the passing numbers, and they're towards the bottom of the league. And then it's like, maybe this is a fucking stupid way to look at offense. And then when it comes to Kyrie, it's like, you're telling me he's never tried ayahuasca or DMT? Like, yeah, right. I'm just like, wait, what? But then, wait, what? But then, wait.
Oh.
What? But then,
Kyle.
Wait, what?
Russello's stuck again.
What? But
Yeah.
Wait.
Change his
What?
batteries.
Wait.
Kyle.
What?
This is genuinely one of the silliest and goofiest narratives about Luka and really any player I can remember. He doesn't make his teammates better. Of course, a lot of this has to do with the fact that, yes, Luka has the ball in his hands a lot. And yes, Jalen Brunson went to New York and played really well. And yes, KP went to Washington and stayed healthy. This doesn't mean that Luka doesn't make his teammates better. This season, the Mavericks have a 122 offensive rating when Luka is on the court and a 115 offensive rating when he's off. He's second in the league in assists per game at 9.8, which is a career best for him. And let's just debunk this narrative right now. Derrick Jones Jr., who the Mavericks picked up in the offseason, currently averaging 8.7 points per game. That is the best of his career on 34% from three. That is also the best of his career. Daniel Gafford traded to the Mavericks at the trade deadline, 11.4 points per game since joining the Mavs. That's the best of his career on 78% shooting from the field. Also the best of his career and on pace to finish with the third best field goal percentage in the history of the NBA. Dante Exum, 7.9 points per game. That's also the best of his career. 49% from three this season. And that number jumps up to 55% when Luka Doncic is on the floor with him. And Derek Lively, a rookie drafted 12th overall, who many people thought was going to be a project heading into the season, 8.8 points per game on 74% shooting. Currently on pace to be the only rookie ever to average 8 points per game or more on 74% shooting. For guys like Derrick Jones Jr. and Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, where the bulk of their points come off of Luka Doncic assists, this is just an egregious thing to say that Luka does not make his teammates better or maximize his teammates. The Mavericks' effective field goal percentage improves by 3 percentage points when he's on the floor. That's in the 92nd percentile. Their corner three-point frequency jumps by 2 percentage points when he's on the floor. That's in the 95th percentile. Their field goal percentage at the rim improves by 4 percentage points. That's in the 88th percentile. Their half-court offense improves by 7.4 points per 100 possessions. That's in the 95th percentile. Luka is the game plan. He is. He's everything. Everything flows through him. He is a playmaking wizard. I'll go as far as to say he's the best passer in the NBA. In fact, I'm going to show you some of my favorite Luka Doncic passes this season, and you will fully see the wizardry on display. I mean, once a night, twice a night, 3 times a night, you'll see a pass that would be the best pass of like 99% of NBA players' careers. I'm starting with this pass against the Charlotte Hornets. Why? Is it one of Luka's best assists of the season? No, it's not. That's exactly why I'm starting with it. This was Luka's second to last game of the season on a random Tuesday night against the Charlotte Hornets. And I just want to highlight it because this is about 99.9% of the NBA's best pass of the season. And I'm not even sure this is in Luka's top 20. The velocity on this pass right into the shooter's pocket. And Maxi Kleber feeling a little bit different with that one-legged fadeaway. Who is that? Dirk Nowitzki? Is he back? Germany, stand up. Not only is this right here one of the most absurd passes of the season, but it perfectly encapsulates how good Luka Doncic is as a passer, and the one skill that I think just he separates himself from everybody else in the league in terms of playmaking. He's going to get blitzed here off of this screen. Now, Charlie Brown Jr., the low man right here, look at how he manipulates him. Right? This look to Derrick Jones Jr. is going to get Charlie Brown flying out. Now, watch this pass. What in the name of God, Luka? You shouldn't be doing that. No, he knows it too. That's actually what's hilarious about Luka. Watch him. I shouldn't have done that pass. Again, manipulating that low man. One of the things he does so well and how he does it, this hang dribble. It really sets up this defender. Clay steps into the paint for just a second, and he's able to rifle that pass to the corner. That's not an easy pass, folks. And to have that velocity and that accuracy, I mean, again, the masterful job Luka does reading the defense this time, looking off Isaiah Joe with a quick peek to the corner. Now he's got to go commit to Derrick Jones Jr. That leaves Derek Lively wide open for a dunk. It's just this manipulation. I don't think anybody does it like Luka, and it's why he has the playmaking chops that he has. His ability to manipulate the defense, and obviously his scoring and the attention that he draws opens up so many things passing-wise for him. He is so smart. His basketball IQ is off the charts. Just this, okay, he's got Derrick Jones in the corner. Bruce Brown's there, ready to help off in a moment's notice. This little hang dribble right here gets Bruce Brown walking in, ready to help. I'm sorry, that's a Baji. Gets a Baji walking in, ready to help. And that's all he needs to see. And again, we don't need to see how the play ends, right? Just trust me. Derrick Jones. Again, just this subtle hang dribble right here. All right, here we go. Luka's about to make his move. All right, I'm coming in to help. Don't worry, guys. Hey, I got help. Hey, I got your help. Oh, shit. Nobody in the NBA gets blitzed more than Luka, and it's not even remotely close, but he's just so good at passing out of these. It's the patience to take one extra dribble, allowing Lively to dive closer to the rim, and just the absurd angle here on this pass to get it over the 7-footer at Jokic. Little hook pass. Perfect. And I guess I never even realized the just psychopathy here by Luka right here. Come on, man. And one. Just upset that Lively didn't get an and one right there. I mean, that's just doing it all here. Passing over the blitz while also manipulating the low man. I mean, it's just all of these things at once. Here comes two. Luka with the look off here sends Colin Sexton flying to the corner. And that leaves Lively open for an easy dunk. Oh, and now he's throwing more transition passes than he ever has at any point in his career. The Mavericks are a top 10 transition offense. That hasn't happened in 11 years. Look at this dot. I mean, what on earth? Dak Prescott, watch your job. Luka could easily be a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. A full court lob, guys. A 3/4 court lob. I feel like this pass didn't get talked about enough, but I'm here to talk about it now. His scoring ability opens up things for his passing because he's so good that you have to double team or send help, and this opens up passing lanes. But he's also such a good passer that you don't really want to send help, so it leaves you liable to just have to guard Luka one-on-one. And this basically creates this unstoppable freight train offensively where you have to pick your poison. You have to pick and choose. Am I going to double team Luka for most of the night and risk him getting 15, 16, 17 assists and having the Dallas Mavericks role players go crazy from three? Or am I going to live with switching and playing one-on-one and, oh, what the fuck? I'm the Sacramento Kings and I'm playing the Mavericks at home in a must-win game for playoff seeding and Luka has 26 points in the first half? Or I'm the Houston Rockets and I decide to single cover Luka and not send any help at all and he has 32 points at halftime? And he outscored our entire team in the first quarter. Oh. That's why when you combine Luka's points per game with his assist points created per game, which is how many points his assists generate, think threes, twos. Not only does Luka have the highest number in the NBA right now with 59, but according to someone else's research that I found on Reddit, so it must be correct, he has the highest ever in the history of the sport. Nobody is generating more points than Luka Doncic. I feel like I maybe should have led with that one. This is why Stan Van Gundy, who forgets more about basketball walking to the mailbox than you and I will ever know, ever in our lives, recently called Luka the best offensive player ever. Not now. Ever. This guy coached in the NBA. This guy absolutely wrecks defensive game plans. Because what do? What is the best strategy against him? Do you double? Do you blitz pick and rolls? That's what most teams do. Nobody gets blitzed on pick and rolls more than Luka. He's nearly double the next person in the league. The Mavericks average around 6.5 possessions a game where Luka is blitzed on pick and rolls. That is an advantageous 4-on-3 possession for the rest of your offense. Think about that. That's 6.5 possessions per game. And obviously, that's a little wonky way to look at it because some teams' defensive strategy is to not blitz it at all, and some teams spend the entire game blitzing pick and rolls. So the Mavericks spend the entire game in advantageous 4-on-3 scenarios. This is why Luka's either always at the top or near the top of Basketball Index's on-ball gravity metric, which tries to grade how much gravity a player has with the ball in their hands, how much attention do they draw from the defense. Nobody's better than Luka. But if you don't double, you open yourself up for a world of pain, a world of hurt and torment. Luka's going to finish the season at 33.9 points per game. Not only is that the best in the league, he'll be the scoring champion this year, but that is the 18th best in the history of the NBA and the 6th best since the 1986-1987 season. He's had 555 points in isolation this year. That is the most in the NBA, 1.10 points per possession in isolation. Incredibly efficient. 149 points on post-ups this year. That's 23rd in the NBA, 0.97 points per possession on post-ups. That's also efficient for post-ups. 792 points as the pick and roll ball handler. That is second in the NBA, 1.07 points per possession there. He shoots 8.4 pull-up threes per game. That is 2 more than Trae Young, who is second on the list with 6.5. He shoots 37.8% on pull-up threes, which is an insane number considering the degree of difficulty on these shots. That is the 3rd best percentage among the 23 players with more than 3.5 pull-up three-point attempts per game, trailing only James Harden and his teammate Kyrie Irving. How about that? He also averages 17.8 drives per game, which is the 3rd most in the NBA. He's shooting 61.6% on drives, which is the highest among the top 100 drivers in the league. He's shooting 76% at the rim, which is center efficiency. Like, we're talking about, this is what alley-oop finishers are supposed to be shooting at the rim. Luka is shooting 76% at the rim, and 91% of his rim shots are unassisted. I mean, that is unheard of efficiency. Basketball Index's stats go back to 2014, and if you look at the players whose 75% of their shots at the rim are unassisted, Luka's 76% at the rim this season is the 2nd most efficient in their database, trailing only De'Aaron Fox. And if you look at the top 6 here, you might notice something. You might notice someone. Yeah, this is center efficiency, folks, at the rim with a guy who shoots 8.4 pull-up threes a game. What are we even talking about? Kitchen sinks? Are we still talking about fucking kitchen sinks? And on top of all of that, he shoots 8.1 mid-range attempts per 75 possessions, which is 15th in the league, shooting 48% on those shots. A 3-level scorer in every sense in the word. The best scorer in the NBA this season. Arguably the best playmaker in the NBA this season. And in my opinion, inarguably, the biggest offensive force in the league this year and one of the biggest offensive forces the NBA has ever laid eyes on. Of course, we can't forget some of Luka's clutch baskets this season. How about a game-winning hook shot from 3? A game-winning hook. This was the 2nd game of the season, so it's easy to forget this happened. But a hook shot from 26 feet out to win the game. How about a little skyhook action to ice a game against the Houston Rockets early in the season? Look at the shrug. I don't know, man. A step back 3 over Victor Wembanyama on opening night to ice the game. Game time. Mark Cuban, hype. I can't believe this is my life. I'm so lucky. Luka talking shit night 1 of the season. That's when you knew. And this incredible win against the Denver Nuggets. Everybody remembers the Kyrie Irving lefty floater to win the game. But how about this deep 3, this bomb, this 30-footer from Luka with 26 seconds left, down 3 to tie the game? The only reason the Mavericks were even in that spot for Kyrie Irving to win it with that just absurd shot. This bomb. Well, slightly, he doesn't play defense. Listen, nobody's been harder on Luka about his defense than me. It's gotten me absolutely dragged through the mud by Luka stands on Twitter before. But I have to give him props. Luka has been, I think, at worst, a neutral defender this year. He's at plus 0.3 defensive EPM, which is the first time in his career that he's been a positive in that stat. The Mavs defense is 3.3 points per 100 possessions better when Luka is on the floor. It is the first time in his career that he has been a positive in that stat. He averages 1.4 steals per game, which is tied for 7th. 184 deflections, that's 16th in the league this season. 42 loose balls recovered on defense, that's 5th. The Mavs' 2 best defensive lineups this season both feature Luka Doncic, so it's not like he's this horrible negative defender that makes it impossible to build a good defense around, which is what people have claimed for a long time. Look, is Luka a great defender? No, he's not a great defender, right? He just doesn't have the athletic tools to stay in front of quick, shifty guards, right? He's going to get beat. He's going to get blown by. And yes, he has plays where he just takes them off and he gets beat backdoor on a cut, or he doesn't get back on defense, or he is spending time behind the play talking to the refs, although he's been very good at that this year. He rarely ever does it anymore. But he has been a more than capable team defender this year. And that's really all that it needs to be asked out of a guy like this. I'm not going to sit here and let people pretend that Jokic is some great defender. He just is not. But Jokic and Luka are similar in a lot of ways in that they're both very smart players who use their basketball instinct and their high basketball IQ to make plays and make things happen defensively. And that, in turn, makes them neutral to even above average defenders when they're locked in. Luka's also had some impressive blocks this season. I'm thinking back to the Rockets game recently where he was literally bleeding from his kneecap, but yet made a block on a Jabari Smith 3. But nothing compares to Luka's best block of the season. Really, what we wanted to see from Luka this year defensively was be locked in. Be an active defender. Be a good team defender. Don't let yourself get taken out of games because you're frustrated at other things, right? Stay locked in on the defensive end. And we've seen that this year. Look, it's no coincidence that every single advanced metric there is or defensive metric there is points to Luka as either an average defender or an above average defender. And when you combine that with his elite offensive output, you get an MVP level player. I mean, look at the defensive energy on this possession, switching and then helping there at the end, flying around the court, blocking Santi Aldama, who, did you know Santi Aldama is a 7-footer? I mean, kind of crazy to believe. Luka's got a 7'2" wingspan, though. It's true. Look it up. Look at that activity. Move that. Move! Yeah! Fly around the court! We already talked about a block that Luka had in this game against the Rockets, but first and foremost, let's look at the knee situation here. Bleeding through the leg sleeve. It's like a Kurt Schilling sock scenario. Luka had 5 fouls with 5 minutes left in this game in the fourth quarter, right? It goes to overtime. He spends the next 10 minutes defending with 5 fouls, and the Rockets went after him over and over and over and over, and it worked never and never and never and never. Because when he's locked in, he can be a good isolation defender. He was for most of the season, I don't know if he still is, a top 10 isolation defender by points per possession, which I think can be a wonky stat, which is why I didn't really feature it in this video. But when he's locked in, he's able to move his feet. Like I said, he's got a long wingspan. He's strong, and he can alter drives like this. Great defense. When he can use his size and his strength to his advantage defensively. It's kind of really hard to isolate against him. Here, DeJounte Murray trapped on the baseline by him. Tries to throw it off his foot. Witty play by Luka to get out the way, get a steal. How about this play right here to block a Brandon Miller jump shot? No way! This is a trait that's very common amongst great offensive players, is that they use their instincts, their basketball IQ, their hand-eye coordination to get a lot of steals. How about that? Stripping LeBron James, and now we're running the floor. Tim Hardaway Jr. Technical foul? Ref, you've been fucking terrible all night. I want to close with this one. This is how you know Luka was in his bag defensively this year. Hiking up the shorts immediately. He's ready to go. Whenever a defender hikes up their shorts, they are locked in. Locked and loaded. Mikal Bridges didn't have the best of seasons, but look at this defense by Luka. And then gets a strip there. This isn't a 1-point game with 4 minutes left. What are some of the other narratives about Luka? The NBA.com MVP ladder, which I try to tell people is just one guy making their thing. This isn't some like certified official MVP ladder, okay? This isn't like people voting on the MVP. This is just one guy's opinions. He said that Kyrie Irving being on the team kind of hurts Luka's MVP case. No. No. You guys do not get to do that. Podcasters and NBA writers spent the entire offseason shitting all over the Mavericks, shitting all over Luka and Kyrie, saying this pairing couldn't work. You guys do not get to turn around and say, oh, well, this pairing actually has worked, and they're the highest scoring duo in the NBA. Well, okay, then Luka can't, that hurts Luka actually. No. You don't get to do that, buddy. You don't get to make the rules. I do, okay? And you don't do that. I also want to point out that pretty much every major publication and every NBA writer thought this team was going to be bad. I need to make sure people understand that. This was a team that was not supposed to win 50-plus games and be comfortably a playoff team in what is the most competitive Western Conference the league has ever seen, just in terms of standings. Anyways, let me know why Luka Doncic is your MVP. And if he's not your MVP, I kindly ask that you reconsider, or else we're going to have some fucking problems.